Welcome, and thank you for taking a moment to learn about the Horst Miracle Gauge, the ultimate solution to RV tank measurement. RVing embodies the ideals of freedom, exploration, community, and adventure for many people. However, for too many RVers, various challenges with the operation of their RV significantly detract from the experience. One of the greatest frustrations among RVers is the lack of reliability of their tank monitoring systems. Today's measurement systems cause RVers to constantly question how long they can go before dumping or replenishing their supply of clean water. The nagging doubt means that an experience that is intended to be relaxing and carefree is instead plagued by worrisome thoughts about the least appealing part of the experience. Existing tank monitoring systems have many issues, the first and foremost being that they are notoriously unreliable. One factor in their lack of reliability is that there are only 3 measures of depth: 1/3, 2/3, and full. If, as an example, an RVer is operating a vehicle with an 85-gallon tank, and that tank contains 25 gallons of fresh water, most monitoring systems will indicate that the tank is empty. 25 gallons can make the difference between leaving and losing a desirable spot or restfully enjoying your vacation. Most tank monitoring systems are not only cumbersome to install, but they require maintenance to ensure readings can even be performed. The maintenance process itself involves the periodic use of special chemicals that add to the total cost of ownership. Troubleshooting when error messages appear or when readings differ from expectations can require the skills of an electrician to determine the source of the issue, or if it is simply a shortcoming in the design of the monitoring solution. The whole experience leaves many RVers exasperated. This general sense of doubt and frustration can now be a thing of the past. Introducing the solution, the Horst Miracle Gauge. So what is so novel about this product? The Horst Miracle Gauge is a simple, highly reliable, highly accurate solution to tank measurement. The patented design achieves the ultimate performance in detailed measurement of the depth of the black, gray, and clean water tanks. There are no more cliffs in measuring tank depth that themselves leave many customers dissatisfied. Rather, the Horst Miracle Gauge can measure the depth of each tank with up to 1/8 inch accuracy. Once installed, the system is virtually maintenance-free. No cleaning or reliance on power or conductivity to produce accurate readings. And the Horst Miracle Gauge is easy to install and operate. No more frustrating error messages requiring reset or other efforts problem solving. The Horst Miracle Gauge was developed by product engineer John Vanderhorst from Horst Dynamics. John is a retired engineer with many patents in the industrial world who now applies his experience to the RV world. As an avid RVer, John has a vested interest in bringing to market his latest innovative solution. John has a proven track record in the industry of having developed other breakthrough, simple, and cost-effective solutions for the RV industry, including the Tow and See extension mirror and Horst Miracle Probe. Best of all, he is himself a delighted customer of the Horst Miracle Gauge. How it works. The Horst Miracle Gauge's innovative design is based on the principle of hydrostatic equilibrium. In fluid dynamics, A fluid is said to be in hydrostatic equilibrium or hydrostatic balance when it is at rest. This occurs when external forces such as gravity are balanced. The Horst miracle gauge applies this concept by distributing air from the actuator to each tank being measured and relays the pressure required to establish equilibrium, which corresponds to the depth of the tank. The net of all of this is that the Horst miracle gauge relies on empirical principles of science, producing a highly accurate reading and reliable, consistent performance over time. Now, let's talk about how to operate the Horst miracle gauge. It's as simple as turn, push, hold, and read. Simply select the tank you wish to measure by turning the knob. Once selected, fully depress the knob and hold for a few seconds until the needle stabilizes on the gauge. Then, read the depth of the tank in inches. Slowly release the knob and wait a few seconds before repeating the process to measure the depth of a different tank. Now let's take a look at a demonstration of the product. Let's start by adding water to our tank. We've marked the tank to indicate depth in inches. You can see we've added water such that the tank has slightly over 2 inches of water. Using the Horst miracle gauge, we depress the actuator, which distributes air to the tank, and the gauge settles on slightly over 2 inches once it achieves equilibrium. Now, we'll add a bit more water, up to 5 inches. We'll depress the actuator, and you can see the gauge settles at 5 inches. We'll add a bit more water, and we'll go slightly above 7 inches. Again, we'll depress the actuator, and you can see how the gauge is sensitive enough to detect the depth is slightly over 7 inches. Simple and incredibly accurate. Let's take a moment to review how to install the Horst miracle gauge. First, let's take a look at the basic components of the product. The Horst miracle gauge is comprised of 2 major components. The first is the actuator, which is used to select the tank the user wishes to measure and distribute air to the tank. The second major component is the gauge, which is used to measure the point of equilibrium, or more specifically, the depth of the tank selected. As you can see, both the gauge and the actuator are secured to the front panel. The base, or rear panel, provides housing for the protruding parts and is used to install the Horst miracle gauge to the wall of an RV. You will notice that there are no electrical components or connections required. Installation is basically a 2-step process, the first being the tank connection, the second, the installation of the Horst miracle gauge. The Horst miracle gauge requires a connection to be established with each tank. The system measures the height of the fluid level starting from the point where the connection is made with the tank, so it is important to make the connection at the lowest point possible. Grommets are provided to establish a sealed connection with each tank. In order to insert a grommet, a 3/8 inch diameter hole is required. You can either drill a 3/8 inch hole in the wall of each tank or simply remove the existing ground grommet and insert the one provided. The tubing should then be directed vertically along the side of the tank, then horizontally over to the front of the tank, up to the actuator. In most RVs, the best place to install the Horst miracle gauge is the bathroom, where most other plumbing fixtures are located. From this location, the tubing that connects the Horst miracle gauge with each tank can simply follow existing plumbing lines or electrical wires. In order to mount the Horst miracle gauge, you will need to drill two 2-inch diameter holes in the wall, 3 3/4 inches apart, to provide room inside the wall for the protruding rear parts of the Horst miracle gauge. The rear panel is used to secure the Horst miracle gauge to the wall. Simply align the 2-inch diameter holes in the wall with those in the rear panel of the Horst miracle gauge and secure the panel to the wall. Once secured, join the tubing to the actuator and secure the front panel to the base of the Horst miracle gauge. That's it. Installation is now complete. We hope this video serves to provide you a meaningful introduction to the Horst miracle gauge and makes you as excited as we are about this incredible product and the opportunity to finally solve a nagging issue associated with RVing. Now let's get back to enjoying the real adventure.